So
Snails.
I don't really like
I don't
snails.
really
Snails
like
are these little.
snails.
Oh, let me go back here for a sec. Puddles are just
Puddles are
little
just little
indentations in the ground or lawn that fill with water when it
fill with
rains. I
water
should
when it
actually
rains.
define the word
define the
that
word
I'm teaching,
that I'm
shouldn't I?
teaching,
I know
shouldn't
it's
I?
pretty
I know it's
easy
pretty easy
in this lesson
this
because there's
lesson
always a
because
picture,
always
but I should
a picture.
for sure
So I should
explain
for
that.
sure explain
Snails.
that.
So snails
So snails
crawl along the
crawl on
ground.
the
Snails have a
ground.
little
Snails have a little
shell on their back.
shell on their
And
back.
the same
And the
day I
same
was
day I
walking and
was
saw
walking and
worms,
saw
there were
worms,
also a lot
there
of
was
snails
also lots of snails
along the side of the road. I don't know
along the side of the road.
why
I don't know why
the worms
the
and
worms
snails
and
are close to
snails
the
are close
road.
to the
That
road.
seems
That
dangerous
seems
to me.
dangerous to me.
Probably poor
Probably poor
parenting
parenting
at some point in their
point in
lives.
their lives.
Sorry, that was a joke.
So that was a
But
joke.
snails,
Snails.
they're also slimy on the bottom. They crawl very, very slowly.
very slowly.
And there's
And
just
there's
lots
just
of them
lots
right
of
now.
them
It's
right
pretty
now.
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Twigs and
Twigs
branches.
and branches.
So
So
trees
trees
are beautiful,
beautiful.
but when it's
But
windy
when it's windy
and when you
and
have
when you
a long
have a
winter
long winter
and there's a lot of
and there are lots of
windstorms
windstorms
and snow
and
sometimes puts
sometimes
weight on the
puts weight
trees,
on the tree,
twigs and
twigs
branches
and branches
sometimes fall off.
fall off.
The difference
The
between a
difference
twig
between
and a
a twig and
branch
branch
is simply
is simply
size.
size.
They're all just
They're all
parts
just
of a
parts
tree.
of the tree.
But when I was
But when I
outside
was
the other
outside
day,
the
I
other
noticed
day,
that there were some branches, some pretty big branches laying on the ground, and there were some twigs. So I need to clean those up before I mow my lawn. So there are definitely twigs and branches outside. Rubber boots. As I mentioned, I went outside wearing my Crocs. I should have worn my rubber boots, but I know my rubber boots have a hole in them, several, and I need a new pair of rubber boots. So this is something, though, you will definitely see out in the wild right now. A lot of people will wear rubber boots. Jen has been wearing her rubber boots for 2 or 3 weeks as she begins working outside. So that's very, very cool. Wheelbarrows. So this is one of the coolest inventions ever. A wheelbarrow is a little hand cart, I guess, with one wheel on the front and 2 handles on the back. And you can fill it with all kinds of things. And then you lift the handles and you can move stuff around. You can drive the wheelbarrow. I think because there's a wheel, it actually acts as a lever, if you know how levers work. So it actually makes it easier to lift all of the stuff that's in there. But you will definitely see wheelbarrows at this time of year. Almost everywhere I walked the other day, I went through several neighborhoods. I probably saw 5 or 6 wheelbarrows. So people are cleaning up twigs and branches. People are just outside, maybe moving some soil to a new area. People are going to start planting stuff soon. So definitely there are a lot of wheelbarrows out there. Rakes. So another thing you can use in the fall is a rake to clean up leaves, but you don't always get it all done. So sometimes you need a rake in the spring because there's just lots of stuff, like leaves that have kind of rotted over the spring. A rake actually works really well to rake up twigs. Don't try to rake up branches. It doesn't work. That's a little bit too hard for a rake. But yes, a rake is a garden tool that you can use to kind of gather things into a pile on the ground. Very helpful for cleaning up your yard in the spring. Melting snow. So this might not be something that you see at this time of year, but we often see melting snow at this time of year. In fact, the other day, I went to the grocery store, and when I went to the grocery store, it was snowing in April. This was this past weekend, and when I came out, my vehicle had some snow on it, and there was a little bit of snow on the ground, but the sun came out, and it immediately started melting. So you can see here, I like this picture, shows it nicely. You have snow, but you have green grass. So this is definitely, in my mind, a picture from spring or fall, most likely spring, where the grass is starting to grow, but you still have a little bit of snow melting. We don't have any snow outside at all anymore, but like I said, it does snow occasionally, and then we do get a little bit of snow on the ground. Mud. So this person was very wise and wore their rubber boots. Mud is simply dirt that has a lot of water in it, and it often gets very sticky. And when you step in it, you can sink. So when you step in mud, your foot goes into the mud. You sink in the mud. This person is not sinking too far, but if you look at how high the mud is on their boot, I'm sure they probably sunk in the mud earlier before this picture was taken. But mud, very, very wet soil that you find when you are outside at this time of year. Tire tracks or ruts. I think I mentioned this once in another lesson. One of the things that really bothers me is that at this time of year, you will see where everyone has driven on the lawn. So when you drive on the lawn, you leave tire tracks, which you see here in the lawn, or what we call ruts. They're the same thing. He drove on the lawn and now there's tire tracks. Or he drove on the lawn and now there's ruts in the lawn. Very, very annoying. He drove on the lawn, now there's tire tracks on the lawn. Tire tracks in the lawn. You can say both, on or in. There's ruts on the lawn, there's ruts in the lawn. I'd probably use in. There's ruts in the lawn, but you could probably use both. So tire tracks or ruts, one of the things that makes Bob the Canadian very, very annoying. And I'm not going to blame delivery drivers because I appreciate them the most. And I know it must be hard to figure out where the lawn is versus the driveway. But if any of you are watching, if you deliver to my house, please try to stay on the driveway. Please don't go in the lawn and make ruts. Fog. Almost every morning, there's fog right now. This is probably caused by the fact that it's cold overnight and the ground is warming up, or the inverse. It might be warm overnight and the ground is still cool related to the air temperature. Either way, not a weatherman. There is a lot of fog in the morning, but it dissipates very quickly once the sun comes up. So fog, definitely something I have been seeing a lot of as I get up and go out on these beautiful spring days. By the way, fog is moisture in the air. It looks a lot like that. It looks exactly like that, actually.
For sure.
Geese. There are too many of these geese. I think I have another picture coming up. Yes. These geese are everywhere. They honk. In Canadian parks in the city, there's even geese. I don't know if I would call that in the wild because they're in the city. And sometimes geese will chase people, and geese can be very, very mean. Sometimes when we plant certain crops, the geese will eat the crop. And then I have to go out and I put up a little fence to stop the geese. But this year, Jen said I can just fly my drone and scare the geese off the soybean field. We'll see. But geese, this is actually what we call a Canada goose. Some people call them Canadian geese. We use different versions, but it's a pretty normal thing to see in this part of the world at this time of year.